I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Today I'm going to be doing something I haven't done in a long time. I'm going to open the blacksmith shop and start unloading some stuff so that I can get my table saw out. To do the bathroom trim, I need to be able to rip down some metal, rip down some wood, and the table saw is the best tool for that, but it's back in the back of this 16-foot long building that is packed full of stuff. So, first thing I got to do is move a bunch of stuff. And maybe set fire to some of it. We'll see. Make sure I got my matches secure. You don't want to have the box open up and have them dumped all into your pocket. It's a setup for having a fire in your coat. And this coat's already gone through it once. We don't need it again. As a place to put all this stuff, I'm going to use my trusty 30-year-old sawhorses. When you make them right, they last. This is an example of some things that can go in the fire pit. I don't have to remove everything. I just need to get it down to the point where I can table saw through the opening here. I don't know if you can see it, but the table saw is clear back there in the corner. Right hand side of the workshop. Too much stuff. Thinking that someday I'll have a use for this leads me to having bits and pieces of various and sundry woods, thinking that, well, okay, I've got a project, I'll use that on. You probably never do have a project you'll use it on, but you might. So you keep. Why would I keep a frying pan? Well, it's an aluminum frying pan and I melt and cast aluminum. Haven't done it in 10 years, but I have all the equipment thinking that, okay, someday I will. This is a part of the saw attachments. This is a taper gauge used to make various and sundry tapered parts. Use this once in a blue moon, if then, but when you do use it, it is invaluable. So, okay, this was a pickup at the estate sale because it was a couple of bucks, and I thought, well, I could make one, or I could just have one for a couple of bucks. It's actually very nice. So, you know, I made the decision. The same thinking behind the frying pan made me cut up a door and store it in the blacksmith shop. It's always good to have a trash bag available. That way, as you pick up the various and sundry things that you know you don't need, you can toss them. Seems like I have a thing for sawhorses. Yep, guilty. Hey George, recognize this? Yep, this is the rototiller that I fixed. Works quite well. Now we're back into the reason for calling it a blacksmith shop, because it has my blacksmith tools in it. And someday, not saying soon, but someday, I intend to use my blacksmith equipment again. I really enjoyed it. I spent a lot of time making it, building it up, setting it up, and then when I moved, there really wasn't a place to put it, so that's the whole reason behind having this building, is being able to put blacksmithing tools in it. Copper wire, number 6, THHN. Dust collector hose. Remington electric blower vac. Don't have the nozzle for it. Short break to change the battery and bring the dog out. She insisted. Delta dust collector. All of $40. Well worth the money. Box filled with cut off chunks of fence post. I use these to anchor down the tent. And evidently I got carried away with drilling them. These are all cut off pieces that I didn't need. And I drilled a hole in them so I could anchor the shed down. Worked quite well, but I made more than I needed. Sadie wanted to go inside, so she came and told me. Getting down to the point where I can actually see the saw. No pun intended. More boxes of nails. Piles of them. The sad part is, I don't use a hammer very much. I don't drive nails that often. I can, I just don't prefer to because it gives me carpal tunnel in my hand. And that makes it an uncomfortable process for anybody. I need to find something to gather these small bits in. So that I can pick them up all at once and move them someplace to a reasonable storage spot. I did install a shelf, and I have many things up there on the shelf right now. Not all things, but many things. And I see that I have a little box here with some screws in it. It says construction screws 1¼ inch. Those are what I was using to put up this piece of plywood, along with these, which are used to mount concrete board. And I put concrete board up on the bottom because I wanted to make sure I didn't get any sparks down onto the floor into some place that would cause issues. So I have piles of stuff up there and no boxes, nothing to store anything in. So I will go look for some boxes. Having some boxes to put things in means that you've got a better chance of not having it fall all over the floor. It does make it so that you have to go back through and sort the box later. But that's okay. Shelves up high have a real important use. They get things up where you can find them, but they're not down where they're going to be something you're going to run into. Liquid soldering flux. Useful when you're soldering with a copper. And a Harbor Freight ring roller. I use this to make the wheel for the wheelbarrow. Just set that there out of the way. And some random bits of iron. That's the kind of thing that a blacksmith likes to have, because for a blacksmith there is no scrap iron. It's all just bits and pieces that you can weld together and make into something. Okay, cart these bricks out to the tractor shed. Brand new box, 25 pounds of 16-penny Ardox nails, gold plated. Nice thing to have around if you're making something. A whole pile of lawnmower tires. And a big box of fire brick that I bought to make a better melting furnace. At least that was the plan. Don't know if we'll get there. Well, I've gotten back to the table saw, got most of the stuff off of it. I still have to set it up so I can run a 10-foot board across it, which means a whole lot more moving and a lot more discoveries.
So part 2 will be me getting the table saw pulled to the front and getting the other stuff moved around so I can actually use it. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the US or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.